Owned by Māori Trust Tauhara North No. 2, Te Pā-tū describes itself as a tourism operation that gives more than it takes, sustaining land, place, stories and people. On the outskirts of Rotorua, at their purpose-built Tawa Ngāhere Pā, or Tawa Forest Village, we're at the launch of Tū Te Rā, the award-winning company's new summer experience.
Now you have just been welcomed in a distinguished manner, as we had sent forth our warriors to come forth to clear the pathway. The final warrior, you would have seen him sweep the ground, and what he is doing is clearing any ill intent.
This experience is the fourth adaptation aligned with Te Maramataka, or the Māori calendar, that Te Pā-tū has produced post-COVID. And it's a radical departure from how the company used to operate. So far, visitor numbers have been impressive, but the Trust's head of tourism, Kiri Atkinson-Crean, is cautious.
In theory, this should be a really, really strong summer for us, but it's still only the third summer out of COVID, so it's still one of those suck it and see scenarios. You know, you're still, in some ways, flying by the seat of your pants.
The COVID-enforced closure of our borders saw staff layoffs and businesses fold throughout the tourism sector. Tourism industry Aotearoa calculated at the end of 2021 that the industry had lost 72,000, or about a third of its workers. But not here at Te Pā-tū.
What was amazing about the people who own this experience, Tauhara North No. 2 Trust, is they put our people right at the heart of everything. So it was catastrophic for everybody in tourism, but what they did was people first. They kept all of our staff, both seasonal and full-time, employed for 6 months on full pay. And then across that period, they spent heaps of time and resource retraining people, designing CVs, finding work, bringing agencies into this organisation to ensure that they were safe before they took the next step. So that in itself, to me, speaks to really strong Māori values of caring for whānau.
James Webster is Te Pā-tū's cultural advisor and kapahaka leader. Most of the group are either his children, nieces or nephews.
Kawakawa is a medicinal plant or Māori herbal plant our people would use.
The pandemic gave Te Pā-tū the chance to reset their operation and move away from the traditional tourism volume-driven approach.
It made us look very carefully at what the tourism investments were and how they operated. And then that prompted us to begin to realise and understand that tourism actually was setting itself up to leave a really shameful legacy for new generations, based on the burden it places on the whenua, based on the style of tourism. Largely, I would say in Rotorua and probably many other places, was volume-based tourism, cram as many people in as you can, and it was often rates-driven. So we were paying really significant commissions in return for really significant volumes. So when we had to reset, we thought about whenua, we thought about ancestral values. What is it that would make our ancestors proud? Is it what we've been doing, or is there a better way and another way of doing it?
Authenticity is what makes Te Pā-tū stand out in a competitive tourism landscape. Visitors aren't just passive observers, they become part of the story, part of the land, part of the whānau.
Okay, let's sing a song from the UK. Are you ready, family? Ready? Tore, pa, eh.
Today is gonna be the day that
Everybody, let's support your chief.
Right now, you should have somehow realized what you gotta do.
One of the biggest changes post-COVID has been the recognition that the values at the heart of Māori tourism, whānau, whenua and whakapapa, family, land and genealogy, are universal.
Those are international values. You know, it's strange because we actually have more in common with people that we host than we have different from them, you know? Everybody loves their whānau. Everyone wants to be connected with something bigger than themselves. Everybody wants to make sure that we take care of the land. So to see these values in the way that we communicate resonates really quickly. So when we came out of COVID, we had doubled our retail price, literally doubled it, and half the number of people. And so that's a very big shock for an industry that has operated in a particular way for 30 or 40 years. It's a big call.
Yeah.
And admittedly, I held my breath for about 4.5 months and just prayed. But what we learned was, because COVID had been such a worldwide reset, people were ready for that, you know? Halving the numbers makes it more comfortable and probably less germy, there was all these things that were working in our favour in that sense. But this summer will be a really big challenge.
Last year, Te Pātū won the Māori Tourism and Resilience and Innovation titles at the New Zealand Tourism Awards, and are finalists in the Tourism Excellence and Visitor Experience categories this year.
So they've learned how to make better use of the tourist dollar, better use of their time. They've rationalised resources, and as they will freely admit, they and many of their contemporaries across the sector have learned how to be better operators because of the adversity.
Māori Tourism Board Chair Dale Stevens.
And what we're seeing is we are now starting to see many of these Māori businesses that have closed are going, well, actually, we think we can start again. So we're now going to that new phase of those who had to close. How can we help them again to get back up and running?
Some of that help is coming from other Māori tourism businesses, like Te Pātū that sources honey from neighbouring Tūhoe and short rib beef from Ngāti Whakāwe for part of its 4-course degustation menu. The 4-hour cultural and dining experience is priced at $260 per adult, a price even domestic visitors seem prepared to pay, particularly for targeted events like Matariki. But internationals still make the bulk of their guests, some 80%.
People used to take tourism packages that were called excursions, where they got delivered to a tourism activity and returned to their hotel. Actually, what we're seeing now is something completely different, where our tourist manuhiri arrive here. They choose to be immersed in the environment and the culture and the ethos that underpins the Māori world, and they get a real experience. They don't get an excursion. They are actually part of the activity and what they're enjoying.
Waiariki is a stunning geothermal spa in Rotorua, a bold and visionary shift in Māori tourism, unashamedly high-end, carving a niche in the global wellness industry by promoting cultural wellness. The Ngāti Whakāwe-owned treatment centre took 3 years to build during the height of the COVID period, and as its general manager, Debbie Robertson, tells me, it took no small amount of courage to complete.
Was there a point where you thought, should we be doing this?
Absolutely there was. With COVID coming along and the price of materials, they skyrocketed. So it was a conscious decision sitting around, obviously the board sitting around going, are we going to move forward with this? But they committed to the process, and they committed to our whare, and now we have this beautiful facility, being able to share it with people. And that's in the distant past now, COVID.
How close is this to your original Momoia, your original dream? Because it would have been easy too, I guess, during COVID to have thought, should we just pare back a bit?
Yeah, no, that they were committed, the board were committed with following through with their full vision, and because we had to do it justice. If you're going to go and do something like this on this scale, you want to do it properly.
The $65 million build is commitment to excellence, evident in every detail, from luxurious carpets to the stunning wall hangings, many of which were created by local Māori artists. The facility tells the story of Ngāti Whakāwe and their connection to the land and water.
So Te Ao Māori has played a major role.
That is the key. That is the key. We could have opened a facility and had spa bathing, and it would be no different to anybody else. It is cultural wellness, is where we position ourselves, what our healing practices that we've been doing for hundreds of years, the water in which we draw from, the same waters that our ancestors bathed in, that is upholding the mana of the whenua.
Waiariki opened a year ago and is part of a bigger tourism picture for Ngāti Whakāwe. And there's no secret about where their growth will come from. Among the potential plans for this land next door a luxury hotel to cater for international guests.
Numbers coming through. At the moment, we sit at about 80% domestic and 20% international, but that's because we are brand new. We're having to build everything. It's a blank canvas, creating those relationships internationally and domestically. In 4 years' time, we predict that 80-20 split will be flipped and will be 80% international and 20% domestic.
Of the $175 price tag for the Wai Whakaora 2-hour spa and bathing treatment, Debbie Robertson says it's a premium price for a premium experience. With only 16 visitors admitted every half hour, the spa also has an age restriction of 16 years and over. At capacity, that's around 340 people a day. There's also a separate treatment area for everything from traditional miri-miri massage to manuka nourishing facials.
What gave you the confidence that international visitors would want that experience?
Cultural tourism, or Māori tourism, here in Aotearoa is paving the way forward, and it is showcased around the world. You know, it's what Rotorua does well. We've been doing it. It's the birthplace of tourism here in Aotearoa, New Zealand, Rotorua is, and to follow on from that and to continually improve our offering of what we have, and to be able to offer now an elevated spa experience, cultural wellness. We're very unique for all of Aotearoa, but we're also very unique for the world.
Whanaungatanga, or family-type connection in Māori business, can't be underestimated. It's a huge driver in businesses succeeding, not just by building wealth, but building communities.
One of the core principles of opening Waiariki was to be able to provide employment for our people and show them that tourism is a way forward for them. They're learning, and it's great to be able to share that and for them to be a part of something so new. Knowing that in 20 years' time they can look back, they can talk to their children or their grandchildren and say, I was a part of Waiariki and look where they are now.
Tourism is a great way of, we're celebrating our own culture every day, we're talking about our ancestors' stories, we're working with our whānau. So it's a really meaningful reason to trick our children into coming home to the whenua, and they can have a career here. So that's really my only job, is to create employment and learning pathways for tauhara whānau.
Among the learning pathways Kiri Atkinson-Crean is talking about is partnering with education providers to create tourism degrees. Education and employment opportunities for Māori in regional New Zealand could be a game changer. A Māori Tourism Board survey in 2020 found Māori businesses employ significantly more Māori, 37% of their staff, in comparison to 17% for non-Māori businesses.
For Māori, not only does it give them a sense of pride in their culture, but all of us can see the benefits right across all of Māoridom of having job opportunities in our provincial areas, having our rangatahi being able to take employment opportunities by their marae, close to their whānau, their rohi. These all turn those metrics in a favourable manner for so many things that we want to get right for our people going forward.
Te Pātū and Waiariki are two Māori tourism operators likely to feature prominently in an international grading system for Indigenous tourism experiences around the world. To be launched next year, the subscription-based model is being developed by New Zealand, the US and Canada, and it'll offer an international mark of quality and create a global network of operators providing meaningful, authentic experiences while also protecting the integrity of Indigenous cultures.